It's a moment of reckoning of sorts for Jack Smith today, the former special counsel who secured 2 federal indictments against former President Trump, both ultimately dismissed. And now at this hour, undergoing a grilling at the hands of House Republicans in a closed-door deposition on Capitol Hill. That's where we find our chief Washington correspondent, James Rosen, with all the action today. Hi, James.
Bianca, good afternoon. Supporters of President Trump have literally waited years for this moment, but legal experts cautioned ahead of this morning's closed-door deposition that the former special counsel may prove rather limited in the testimony he can offer about his work with the federal grand jurors who secured indictments in 2 cases against then former President Trump, one relating to the handling of classified information, the other to January 6. Smith arrived at Rayburn 2237 shortly before 10 a.m. Eastern Time. He appeared pursuant to subpoena. The deposition is still ongoing, we're told. Through counsel, Smith had sought to testify at an open hearing, but Chairman Jordan and his staff rejected that, saying investigators could pursue their various avenues of inquiry in a more disciplined and detailed way in a closed-door setting. One area in which Smith is probably at this hour facing pointed questioning is his expansion after he assumed office in November 2022 of the Arctic Frost probe into GOP efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election, a probe that ultimately saw 8 Republican senators' phone records obtained and the issuance of nearly 200 subpoenas targeting Republican officials or entities. The first lawmaker to emerge from the deposition and speak with reporters was, in fact, a Democrat, Dan Goldman of New York, a former member of Robert Mueller's special counsel team. And Goldman defended Jack Smith as himself the victim of a witch hunt.
The accusations against him are complete bogus, and the American people should hear that for themselves. This is the only special counsel who's not been afforded a public hearing. That is the only special counsel's report that has not been made public, or at least provided to Congress, and that is very intentional by this administration. This testimony by the special counsel should be in public, and I demand that the chairman have a subsequent public hearing so that the American people can hear what the special counsel said.
The classified documents case, a case that Jack Smith pursued against then former President Trump, was dismissed by federal judge Eileen Cannon 2 days after the attack at Butler, Pennsylvania. Smith himself moved to dismiss the January 6, 2020 election case after then former President Trump won re-election to office last year. In doing that, Smith was simply following standing DOJ policy, which prohibits the prosecution of sitting presidents of the United States. However, since then, Smith has said publicly he believes he would have won a conviction in that election case. Bianca.
James Rosen, some incredible images, though, of former special counsel Smith today on the Hill. Glad you could be with us to share that.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.